Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Please join me for the pledge. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome everybody. This is the regular City Council meeting for April the 14th, 2025. We'll start with a roll call, please.
Weber.
Yes.
Hannah.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Maynor.
Yes.
Crusader.
Here.
O'Laughlin.
Yes.
Jensen. Here.
Okay, in terms of the agenda, we have a plaque presentation scheduled as item number 4. She's not here. So what we'll do is we will take that off the agenda for today and we'll put it back on for the 28th. So I'd like a motion to approve the agenda as modified.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Passes 7-0. Next, we move to the proclamations. I've got 2 proclamations to read. The first is the Child Abuse Prevention Month proclamation for April 2025. Whereas prevention is possible with the right policies and investments, whereas the early experience of a child impact them throughout their life, both positively and negatively. Whereas positive childhood experiences such as loving caregivers and safe, stable, and nurturing relationships play a vital role in helping children thrive by mitigating trauma and the negative impact of adverse childhood experiences. Whereas families who receive the support they need before a crisis occurs are better equipped to provide safe, healthy, and nurturing environments, leading to a child who is safer, healthier, and more hopeful about their futures. Whereas childhood trauma, including abuse and neglect, can have long-term psychological, emotional, and physical effects throughout an individual's lifetime and impact future generations. Whereas prevention of child abuse and neglect can reduce the economic burden associated with child maltreatment. Whereas strengthening families through access to concrete economic, social, and community-based supports reduces the likelihood of abuse and neglect and ensure children have the foundation for lifelong well-being. Whereas effective child care abuse prevention activities succeed because of the partnership between child welfare professionals, education, health, community, and faith-based organizations, businesses, law enforcement, and families. Whereas communities must make every effort to promote programs and activities that create strong and thriving children and families. Whereas we acknowledge that we must work together as a community to increase awareness about child abuse and to promote the social and emotional well-being of children and families in a safe, stable, and nurturing environment. Whereas prevention remains the best defense for our children and families, now therefore the City of Independence does hereby proclaim April 2025 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Buchanan County and urge all citizens to recognize this month by dedicating ourselves to the tasks of improving the quality of life for all children and families. Together we can create a state where every child can grow up happy, healthy, and safe with hope for their future. And I'll sign that. And you want to sign that as well?
I guess.
Okay, the second proclamation that we have is from the Northeast Iowa Regional Board of Realtors. April 2025 is Fair Housing Month proclamation. Whereas the Fair Housing Act enacted April 11th, 1968 enshrined into federal law the goal of eliminating racial segregation and ending housing discrimination in the United States, and whereas the Fair Housing Act promotes or prohibits discrimination in housing based upon race, color, religion, sex, familial status, national origin, and disability, and commits recipients of federal funding to affirmatively further fair housing in their communities. And whereas Independence is committed to the mission and intent of Congress to provide fair and equal housing opportunities for all, and whereas our social fabric, economy, health, and environment are strengthened in diverse, inclusive communities, and Whereas more than 50 years after the passage of the Fair Housing Act, discrimination persists and many communities remain segregated, and whereas acts of housing discrimination and barriers to equal housing opportunity are repugnant to a common sense of decency and fairness, now therefore be it resolved that the Mayor of Independence does hereby declare the month of April 2025 as Fair Housing Month. In Independence, an inclusive community committed to fair housing and promoting appropriate activities by private and public entities to provide and advocate for equal housing opportunities for all residents and prospective residents of Independence. And I'll sign that. Next, we move to public comments. Was there any comments with regard to this section here?
Did you want a photo op with the blue?
Oh,
I just wanted to comment, thank you, you guys, for allowing us to put pinwheels throughout the community for the Prevent Child Abuse Month.
okay, great, thank you.
Thanks for promoting that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's no public comments, let's move to the consent agenda. I need a motion to accept and approve the consent agenda that approves the following: the minutes of the March 24, 2025 special meeting, the minutes of the March 24, 25 regular meeting, the Quick Star 717 Class B retail alcohol license amendment for premises updates with an effective tentative effective date of May 17, 2025 through May 16, I'm sorry, I apologize. Has somebody watching me? Effective date of April 1st, 2025 through March 31st of 2025. 2026, thank you. Independence Park and Rec Class C retail alcohol license renewal with a tentative effective date of May 17, 2025 through May 16, 2026. The Trendy Tulip Special Class B retail native wine license renewal with a tentative effective date of April 15, 2025 through April 14, 2026. Celebrate Indy special event application for a time period of Wednesday, July 2nd, 2025 through Saturday, July 5, 2025. Celebrate Indy special Class C retail alcohol license application with a tentative effective date of July 2nd, 2025 through June 6th, July 2, 2025 through July 6, 2025. So I need that motion.
So moved.
second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 7-0. Next, we move to financials. I need a motion to approve the claims for payment.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 7-0. Next, we move to the bank reconciliation, which is for information only. Anybody have any questions, comments with regard to that? Hearing none, we move to item 10, which is revenues and expenses to date. This is information only. Anybody have any comments or questions with regard to that?
Thank you, Susie. That helps out as we're trying to keep track of.
Hearing none, we move to item number 11. Item number 11 is a second reading of the ordinance amendment to Chapter 170 zoning regulations. So I need a motion to approve the second reading of an ordinance amending the provisions pertaining to Chapter 170 zoning regulations.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. This, we talked about previously, this is the Steve G. project, and we had a public hearing on March 24th, 2025 on this, and we had a first reading at that time, so this is the second reading on that. Any discussion with regard to that? Hearing none, this is a roll call vote.
Hannah,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Maynard,
Yes.
Prusader,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Jensen,
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Does anybody want to make a motion to suspend the statutory rule requiring that an ordinance be considered and voted on at two council meetings prior to the meeting in which it is finally approved?
I would make that motion. We've done it twice already, and there's been no objections from anybody to my knowledge.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Yes.
Okay, any further discussion with respect to that? Hearing none, this is a roll call vote. I need 6 out of 7 to pass.
Moore,
Yes.
Maynard,
Yes.
Prusader,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Jensen,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Hannah.
No.
Passes 6-1. Next, I need a motion to, now that we've suspended the time period, now I need a motion to have this ordinance, which amends the provisions pertaining to Chapter 170 zoning regulations, placed in for final passage for adoption pursuant to Iowa Code Section 380.3, and to authorize the mayor to sign the ordinance.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Again, that's a roll call vote.
Maynard,
Yes.
Prusader,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Jensen,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Okay, that passes 7-0. That's all I do on that one, right? Okay. All right, next we move to resolutions. This is item number 12 on the agenda. I need a motion to approve and authorize the mayor to sign a resolution that approves the fiscal year 2026 budget, CIP, and transfers.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Discussion with regard to this. Okay, hearing none, that would be the roll call vote.
Prusader,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Jensen,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Maynard.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Next, move to item number 13. I need a motion to approve and authorize the mayor to sign a resolution appointing Nathan Hansen to the Planning and Zoning Commission.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so I've recommended to the council that Nathan be approved to take the place of Matt on the Planning and Zoning Committee. So I think he'd do a great job, and I know he's attending one of the meetings already, even though he wasn't a member. So if you, did I have a second on that?
Yes, I have a motion and a second.
Okay. Any further discussion with regard to that? Hearing none, this would be a roll call vote also.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Jensen,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Maynard,
Yes.
Prusader.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Nathan, you want to stand up? And that's Nathan Hansen. There you go. Congratulations. Okay, next we'll move to item number 14. I need a motion to approve and authorize the mayor to sign a resolution that authorized the bid process and sets a public hearing date for May 12, 2025 at 5:00 p.m. For the proposed sale of this property.
8/12/10. This is
So
for
moved. Oh, you want to talk about it first?
Sorry,
No,
go
I
ahead.
just want
Go
a
ahead. We
motion
need a motion first, yeah.
I'll make that.
So moved.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second. Okay, so what we're talking about here is
So this is the property at 812 10th Street Northeast.
okay, we talked about this last time. It's a 657A .10 point B. And what we decided to do was to have advertising and then attempt to sell the property rather than use another means. So at this point, what we're asking for is to authorize the bid process to start on this and to authorize the setting of the public hearing. So I have a motion. Is there further discussion with respect to that? Pardon?
This will be publicized locally only, or are you going to internet it?
It's publicized via the paper, and I'm not sure,
There's 2 notices that'll go in the paper, and there'll be something on the website.
yeah, on the city's Facebook, or the city's website.
Okay.
And we also have the public hearing set for May the 12th on it as well.
Right, that's the public hearing, that'll be when, that's the public's opportunity to talk about the bids received, yeah.
And the individuals interested will be reaching out to.
There's bidders' instructions that'll be posted in the paper, but the way that works is if they have questions, they'll reach out to the building official, Mr. Chesmore, but they will submit a sealed bid to Susie, the city clerk. And then those will be reviewed on May 2nd at 1 o'clock. That's when they'll be open publicly for anybody who wants to be present to see that. And then the top 3 bidders will be asked if they would like to increase their bid during that opening.
And starting bid is?
13,000 is the minimum bid acceptable.
And this is for 812 10th Street Northeast, and the property's already been demolished from there, and it's ready for sale.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I would need,
I do have one more question. That covers all expenses that we have incurred on this property, correct?
Correct.
So we will just, if it doesn't go higher than 13,000, we're just recouping our cost.
Correct.
anything further? Okay, that's a roll call vote then.
Jensen,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Hannah.
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Maynor,
Yes.
Prusader,
Yay.
O'Laughlin.
Yes. Passes 7-0. Next, we move to item number 15, which is a motion to approve and authorize the mayor to sign a resolution that approves the funding agreement for Operation Threshold, Inc., and for the city manager and city clerk to sign the funding agreement. I need the motion first.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. We discussed the third-party requests at the January 20, 2025 council work session. This is the only one of the funding portions that we have which is coming out of the general fund, and it's $2,000. There's no, all the rest of them are coming out of other funds. Any further discussion with respect to that? Hearing none, this is a roll call vote then.
Weber,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Maynor,
Yes.
Prusader,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Jensen.
Yes.
Okay, that passes 7-0 also. Next, we move to item number 16. I need a motion to approve and authorize the mayor to sign a resolution that approves the funding agreement for the Buchanan County Tourism and for the city manager and city clerk to sign the funding agreement.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Again, this is a third-party request from the January 20, 2025 council work session. This was $2,000. It's coming out of the hotel motel monies as opposed to the general account. Any further discussion with respect to that? Hearing none, this is a roll call vote.
Hannah,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Maynor,
Yes.
Prusader,
Yes.
O'Laughlin.
Yes.
Jensen,
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Next, we move to item number 17, which is I need a motion to approve and authorize the mayor to sign a resolution that approves the funding agreement for the Buchanan County Senior Center and for the city manager, city clerk, and to sign the funding agreement. First, I need the motion itself. So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Again, this was something we talked about the January 20, 2025 council work session. This was a fund of $1,000. It's coming from hotel motel monies. Any discussion on that further? Hearing none, that would be a roll call vote.
Moore,
Yes.
Maynor,
Yes.
Prusader,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Jensen,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Hannah.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Next, we move to item number 18. I need a motion to approve and authorize the mayor to sign a resolution that approves the funding agreement with the Independence Celebrations Committee and for the city manager and city clerk to sign the funding agreement. First, I need the motion.
So moved.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Again, this was discussed at the January 2025 council work session. The agreed amount was $12,000 coming out of the hotel motel monies. Any further discussion with respect to that? Hearing none, that would be a roll call vote.
Maynor,
Yes.
Prusader,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Jensen,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Okay, that also passes 7-0. Next, we move to item number 19, right? Okay, item number 19, I need a motion to authorize the mayor to sign a resolution that approves the funding agreement with the Independence Area Chamber of Commerce and for the city manager and city clerk to sign the funding agreement.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Again, this was discussed at the January 2025 council work session. This is $5,000 from the hotel motel monies. Does anybody have any further discussion with respect to that? Hearing none, this would be a roll call vote again.
Prusader,
That was for 5?
Yeah. 5,000.
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Jensen,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Maynor.
Yes.
Okay, that passes 7-0. Next is item number 20, right? Item number 20, I need a motion to approve and authorize the mayor to sign a resolution that approves the funding agreement with the Independence Area Chamber of Commerce and the Independence Celebration Committee, and for the city manager and city clerk to sign the funding agreement. Again, this is a roll call vote.
I need a motion second first.
Oh, sorry, I need a
So moved.
motion.
Second.
Second. Okay, discussion on this.
You want to share the amount?
Pardon?
You want to share the amount?
I will. January 20, 2025 council work sessions when we discussed this third-party request. The amount is $30,000 from the hotel motel fund, and this is primarily due to the fact that this will be the 250th anniversary of the United States coming into being. So I think we're going to have a lot more activities that are going to be going on in town. Independence, it's in our name, right? So I think that that's what we discussed at the time. So any further discussion regarding it? Hearing none, this will be a roll call vote.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Jensen,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Maynard,
Yes.
Crusader.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Next, I need a motion to approve and authorize the mayor to sign a resolution that approves the funding agreement with Northeast Iowa RC&D and and for the city manager and city clerk to sign the funding agreement. First, I need the motion.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. This is, again, a third-party request from January 2025 council work session. This was $4,000, and it's coming from the stormwater monies fund as opposed to from the general fund. Anybody have any further discussion with regard to that? Hearing none, this will be a roll call vote then.
Jensen,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Maynard,
Yes.
Crusader,
Yes.
O'Laughlin.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Next, we move to item number 22. This is a motion to accept and approve the final plat of survey for boundary line adjustment for Lori Cleveland's property. So first I need the motion.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. The preliminary plat was approved on March the 10th of 2025, and this is just the combining of two properties, as you may recall. Further discussion with respect to that? Hearing none, this is a roll call vote.
Weber,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Maynard,
Yes.
Crusader,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Jensen.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Next, we move to item number 23. I need a motion to accept and approve the preliminary plat of survey of boundary retracement for Indy Storage and authorize the mayor to sign the resolution. First, I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Remind me on the location?
So this is at the corner of Bland Boulevard and Iowa Avenue or 20th Street on be the northeast corner of that intersection.
Okay, so what we're doing there, this is the Stiegelman property?
Correct. Indy Storage LLC.
Okay, so we're combining the properties and removing the property boundary on the ground so that they can have one parcel, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, anybody have any further discussion with respect to that?
Did that go through planning and zoning?
Yes.
It did,
April 1st.
yes. Further discussion?
No.
Hearing none, this will be a roll call vote then.
Hannah,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Maynard,
Yes.
Crusader,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Jensen,
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Next is item number 24, which is a motion to accept and approve the final plat for the survey of the boundary retracement for Indy Storage and to authorize the mayor to sign the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, the first one that we did on number 23 was the preliminary plat. This is the final plat.
Correct.
Any further discussion with respect to that? Hearing none, it's a roll call vote then.
Moore,
Yes.
Maynard.
Yes.
Crusader.
Yes.
O'Laughlin.
Yes.
Jensen,
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Hannah.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Next, we move to item number 25. I need a motion to authorize the city manager to sign the proposal. And that's from Levi Architecture with respect to the theater/civic center.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. If you'll recall, at the last work session, we had Dan Levi here. We talked about the possibility that, well, let me back up a couple steps. We had a work session in February. At that time, staff informed council that the city had been approached by an entity interested in purchasing the Falcon Civic Center, and we decided to look into whether or not the theater, which we currently own the property on, would be a viable thing to potentially move the Falcon Civic Center to that location, as long as it made sense financially. In order to determine whether that's feasible or not, we contacted Levi Architecture to find out if he would do a feasibility study for us and schematic design services to provide us with information. The quote on the amount to do that is $10,200. So like I said, we discussed this at the work session last time. Any further discussion with respect to this?
What would we do with the dog park out there if we did this?
So I think the intent would be for the dog park and the skate park to remain where they are, at least initially, and we'd have to work that out as part of that purchase agreement, that we would retain ownership of those parcels until such point as the council decided what they wanted to do with those.
Question I have, did we ever reach out to anybody else, or did we only reach out to one party? And if we only reached out to one
They
party,
reached out to
why?
us. We did not solicit to try to sell the Civic
I'm
Center.
not talking about the sell, I'm talking about the design
The
proposal.
design proposal. We only reached out to Levi because we have a relationship with them, or we've worked out with them before.
And if we don't carry through with the project, we've thrown $10,000 away.
And the $10,000 is in the CIP for Parks and Rec.
Yeah, the money is there, but
And our understanding, based upon Dan Levi's discussion when he was here, he indicated that he thought that the cost, the expected cost to do the remodel, since we're only talking about interior, we're not talking about exterior, would more than be covered by the prospective price that we think we can get for the Civic Center itself. So
But with the economy and the prices going up, there's no guarantee of that.
further discussion. Hearing none, this will be a roll call vote then.
Maynard,
Yes.
Persauter,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Jensen,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Hannah,
No,
Moore.
no.
Passes 5-2. Next, we move to reports. So I don't know if everybody's had a chance to review the police department monthly report in terms of the numbers of the different types of incidents that they've reported on. If you have any specific questions with regard to that, this would be the time to discuss those. Okay, hearing none. Move to item number 27. This is the monthly report from the fire department. Again, it's the number of incidents. As you saw, there were a larger number of brush fires that they were involved in.
I'm always amazed at how many both police department calls and fire department calls there are. I mean, it's amazing.
They are very busy.
fire cars could be less if they would put the burn ban back on.
Yes, it would be.
Send their firemen out there for,
Okay, so in terms of the numbers, anybody has any questions with respect to the numbers, calculations? Okay, move to number 28, which is the building department monthly report. Again, same question. Does anybody have any questions with regard to that report, which identifies all the new projects that are going on, the number of permits pulled, et cetera?
There's a lot.
There's a lot, we have a lot of activity going on.
Yeah, it's really nice to see our community growing.
Anybody have any questions for Matt with regard to that? Okay, hearing none, then we move to the item number 29, which is the ILPT reports. Anybody have any questions that we can send to them with regard to that?
Just a reminder, everybody, that May 1st, if you have an Indytel email address, you're going to need to change it. They'll no longer support the emails.
Okay. Next, we move to council member reports. Brett, do you have anything?
I have nothing, Mayor.
Deb?
other thing I heard good comments about John taking Shakespeare out to the community and how other people enjoyed it. They asked if I would thank him, but I see he's not here tonight, but
No, he's right there.
would you-
No, that's not, never mind.
that's it, thanks.
Never mind. Ralph?
The only comment I have, and I want to give Matt kudos, a company that was in town today that was doing some work, they were very pleased about you being on board at the city now, because they had worked with some of our past inspectors and everything, and they complimented to me about you, about your professionalism and your willingness to work with them on things. So kudos to you.
Mr. Mayor, anything from you?
I was just going to add to what Deb said. John and Shakespeare did get certified as Crisis K-9 team last week or the week before. So yeah, congratulations to John.
And Shakespeare.
Mike?
Seems like he was just a puppy. I don't have anything, thank you.
I've only got two things for you. So Henson's office reached out about the community project funding. I've updated you guys before that because of the House appropriations bill that was passed, there is no funding in any projects across the United States for 25. They've asked us to reapply for 26. We're doing that. They've asked for updated community or letters of support from community members who submitted letters of support last year to show that the project is still, a viable request. So I've reached out to people today during the day, and I'll work on putting together another one from myself, and the mayor did one last year too, on behalf of the council. They mentioned in their resolutions from the council, unfortunately, I got notified about this morning at 10:15, and we can't put something on the agenda that's less than 24 hours. So if we were to meet the deadline, we'd have to call a special meeting to do this, to do a resolution. I don't feel like that's appropriate, so we'll handle it from our side. If you would like, if any council member would like to, or even if you'd just like to sign your name to one, I'm happy to write it for you. I'll help however I can. So, and the only other thing I was going to mention is, of course, there's quite a few tax bills and different things going on at the legislative level. It's worth noting that the state legislature is also going to preempt fireworks. SF 303 has passed the Senate, and it looks like it's going to pass the House as well, and that will make it so that no city or county can withhold the ability to discharge consumer fireworks on July 3rd, July 4th, or December 31st.
Anywhere?
Anywhere in the state, which removes, if it passes, it removes your ability, it removes your local control for that particular topic. And at this point, as everything that we've seen, it appears it's going to pass.
Guess that pretty much overrides what we just done a year ago.
Yep. So, that's all I've got.
Okay, if everybody will bear with me for a second. Friday is the 18th of April. And going back to my days in elementary school, we had a poem by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. It's called Paul Revere's Ride. And I'll just give you the intro. I won't give you the whole thing. On the 18th of April in 75, hardly a man is now alive who remembers that famous day and year. He said to his friend, "If the British march by land or sea from the town tonight, hang a lantern aloft in the belfry arch of the Old North Church as a signal light. One if by land and two if by sea, and I on the opposite shore will be, ready to ride and spread the alarm through every Middlesex village and farm to warn the country folk to be up and to arm." And it's a great time for the country to celebrate our 250th coming up, and that was kind of the events that started the whole thing with the Paul Revere's Ride. Okay?
Well done.
Well done.
Very well done, Mayor.
Need a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Hey,
All in favor?
Aye.
Passes, opposed? Passes 7-0.